Welcome to One Guy, One Course, One Disc. We are here today at Sandy Creek Park in Athens, Georgia. This is a 27-hole course. It has the original 18 and then an alternate 9. It's a mix of wooded and open, so you definitely get to see a lot of different shot shapes. It is $3 to get into the park to play on the course. So just make sure you do have some money. Also, looks like there's 3 teepads per hole, so a lot of options for every level of player. So let's go take a look at the course. Hole 1 is a 606-foot par 4 that's going to go right to the left and back to the right. It's going to be about 322 feet to get to this gap here that we're coming up on. It's at roughly 35 feet. And from there, it's 284 feet to the basket, and it's downhill 9 feet. This roadway on the left is OB, so you do want to make sure you keep your disc to the right. And once you finish hole number 1, hole 2 is going to be behind you to the right. Hole 2 is a 485-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 39 feet. It's going to be 270 feet to get to the gap in the woods, and then the basket's just another 215 feet from there. And once you finish hole number 2, hole 3 will be straight ahead of you to the right a little. Hole 3 is a 263-foot par 3 that's going to go uphill 14 feet. It's 48 feet to get to that initial gap, which is only about 5 feet wide. This small, skinny, crooked tree in the middle is 186 feet. And then from there, it's 77 feet to the basket, which is off to the right. But once you finish hole number 3, hole 4 will be behind you a little to the left. Hole 4 is a 295-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 17 feet. It's 61 feet to get through that gap there, which is about 12 feet wide. Then you get into this big opening, and then we're going to go back into the woods and downhill to get to the basket, which is tucked behind this little bunker of trees here on our right. But once you finish hole number 4, hole 5 will be straight ahead of you to the left. Hole 5 is a 495-foot par 4 that's going to go uphill 25 feet. It's going to be 110 feet to get to this first gap, which is about 26 feet wide. And then from there, it's another 258 feet to get to the second critical gap that we're going to have to hit. And that gap's going to be about 15 feet wide. But once you finish hole 5, hole 6 is going to be to your left. Hole 6 is a 371-foot par 3 that's going to go uphill 11 feet. It's going to be 303 feet to the tree that's in front of us here in the middle. And then the basket is a little off to the right from there. But once you finish hole number 6, hole 7 is going to be straight ahead of us a little to the left. Hole 7 is a 358-foot par 3. That's going to need you to do a slight turn to the right and then finish to the left. It's fairly wide open except for this bush here that's kind of a little to the left of the basket, which is 275 feet from the tee pad. The basket does sit on a ridge, so be careful. And once you finish hole 7, hole 8 will be to your right. You'll have to go across the parking lot, across the entrance road, and then it should be right there to the right of the tree line. Hole 8 is a 340-foot par 3. It's going to be 123 feet to get to this first tree here that's right on our right. Ideally, it's a lot easier to go to the left of that tree, swing something out left and let it finish right. If you go to the right of the tree, you do have the threat of OB, but also getting back across the trees can prove to be difficult. But once you finish hole 8, hole 9 will be straight ahead of you across the street. Hole 9 is a 365-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 13 feet. It's going to be 195 feet to this last tree here on the tree line. And then it's 273 feet to the bench here on the left. This does finish a little bit to the right. But once you finish hole number 9, hole 10 is going to be to your left on the other side of the parking lot. Hole 10 is a 312-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 18 feet. It's 100 feet to get to this first tree here. But once you get past this little group of trees, it opens up a little bit. And then the basket is tucked away on the right in the woods. It's going to be about 288 feet to get to the mouth of the woods that's in front of the basket. But once you finish hole 10, hole 11 will be behind us to the left, just a little. Hole 11 is a 460-foot par 4 that's going to go uphill 33 feet. It's going to be 364 feet. To get to an ideal landing zone, you do want to try and finish a little more to the left to open up the second shot to the basket, which is tucked away on the right. But once you finish hole 11, hole 12 will be behind us to the right. Hole 12 is a 370-foot par 3 that ultimately only goes down 1 foot. You're going to go down about 15 feet though and then back up 14. It is a tricky shot off the tee. If you go to the right though, it will be a shorter line, but it is tighter. To the left is a lot more open, but it's going to require a little more distance. Once you finish hole 12, hole 13 will be to your left. Hole 13 is a 274-foot par 3 that's going to go uphill 12 feet. It's going to be 213 feet to the tree that's right here in the middle. And once you finish hole 13, hole 14 is going to be to your right. Then you're going to cross the parking lot, and then there is a path across the way. You're going to go down this path that winds around, and then it will fork. At the fork, if you want to do the full 27-hole loop, you go to the left. If you want to just do the original 18 holes, you're going to go to the right. Hole 14 is a 212-foot par 3. It's going to go uphill 2 feet. It's going to be 106 feet to get to this gap we're about to walk through now, which is only about 6 feet wide. But once you finish hole 14, hole 15 will be to your left. Hole 15 is a 293-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 9 feet. It's a fairly straight shot the whole way, but you got about 10 feet of fairway to work with. But once you finish hole number 15, hole 16 is going to be to your right. And when you get to the end of the little path, you're going to go to the right to get to the long tee pad. Hole 16 is a 504-foot par 4. It's going to go uphill 1 feet. Your first shot needs a little turn, and then it needs to fade slightly the rest of the way. And then your second shot will be uphill and will be a right to left shot. But once you finish hole number 16, hole 17 will be to your left. Hole 17 is a 315-foot par 3 that's going to go uphill 20 feet. It's pretty much a straight shot for most of it, and then you want to finish left just a little bit. But once you finish hole 17, hole 18 will be straight ahead of you, and then when you get out into the parking lot, the next hole will be across the parking lot to the right of the playground. Hole 18 is a 251-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 19 feet. It's a fairly straight shot, but you got about 5 feet to work with, so you need to be very careful. But once you finish hole 18, hole 19 is going to be out of the woods, and then you're going to go right down the road, and then the next hole will be to the left. Hole 19 is a 516-foot par 4 that's going to go downhill 7 feet. It's going to be 139 feet to get to this pine tree that's here in the middle. Ideally, I would go to the right of it, and then you're going to want to start hyzer or turning left at that point. And you want your first shot hopefully to finish just about here. This will help give you an easy second shot to the basket, which is going to be tucked away up the hill on the left. And once you finish hole 19, hole 20 is going to be straight ahead of you to the left. Hole 20 is a 305-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 15 feet. It's going to be a fairly straight shot most of the way, and then it's going to finish to the right. And once you finish hole 20, hole 21 will be to your right. Hole 21 is a 303-foot par 3 that's going to go uphill 11 feet. It's going to be, once again, a straight shot most of the way and then a slight turn to the left. But once you finish hole 21, hole 22 will be out of the woods. When you get to the parking lot, you're going to take a right. You're going to go out of the parking lot and across the road to get to hole 22. Hole 22 is a 388-foot par 4 that's going to go uphill 12 feet. It's going to be about 250 feet to the decision-making point. If you go to the left, it's going to be a shorter route, but it is a lot tighter with a lot more trees in the way. If you go to the right, it's a little more open, but it will take a little more distance. But once you finish hole 22, hole 23 will be out of the woods, and then you're going to go to the left, and then you're going to cross the street. Hole 23 is a 248-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 24 feet. It's going to be about 210 feet to where you want to start to turn to the right to get to the basket. But once you finish hole 23, hole 24 will be straight ahead of you and then to the left. Hole 24 is a 227-foot par 3 that's going to go uphill 20 feet. It's pretty much a straight shot the whole way. You do have some tight gaps at the beginning you're going to have to miss. But once you finish hole 24, hole 25 is going to be to your right. Hole 25 is a 356-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 20 feet. You have tight gaps you have to work through pretty much the whole way. Ideally, you're going to want something that's going to turn to the right just around this tree and then start to turn back to the left once we get to this ravine. Once you finish hole 25, hole 26 is straight ahead of you. Hole 26 is a 250-foot par 3 that's going to go uphill 15 feet. You're going to want something that turns to the right and then finishes left. Once you finish hole 26, hole 27 will be straight ahead of you to the road. You're going to take a left and then go down the road, and once you get past the tree line on the right, the 27's teepad will be on the right. Hole 27 is a 499-foot par 4. It is a breath of fresh air after all those woods. This is a wide open hole that lets you do whatever it is you please. The only challenge is that the basket is probably about 20 to 30 feet from the roadway. So if you come in too hard, you'll easily find yourself out of bounds. But once you finish hole number 27, the parking lot will be straight ahead of you. Now that you've seen the course, let's take a look. Today's disc is the Viking Fenrir. It is a 10403, so let's see how it flies. Oh, that's a great start. Oh. Oh, man. Get out of it. Two cars in a row. It's like I know how to play now. Oh. Not too far. Oh. Oh. Not really. So unfortunately, off the tee shot on hole 12, I lost my disc. So share the disc glove. If you find it, you can keep it. It's somewhere on the right side, probably close to the ravine somewhere. I've been looking for about 10 minutes. I can't find it, so can't be here all day. As far as the disc goes, the Viking Fenrir, I would say Viking discs overall tend to be a bit more understable than they let on. On the few shots I was throwing it full power, it did get a little turn, which typically with a 0-10 speed, 0 turn 3 fade, and other manufacturers, I'm not going to get that. So if you're a beginner, I would definitely check out Viking discs. They'll probably be a little more user friendly than other companies. The numbers are going to be, the disc will fly more understable than what the numbers lead you to believe. But it did have some fight back at the end. I also noticed on especially that last shot, it really held that ante pretty well. So obviously you got to be careful with the discs. But once again, for beginners, definitely check out Viking Discs. They're a lot more beginner friendly than other brands. As far as Sandy Creek goes, it's a challenging course from the longs. Accuracy is definitely going to be important. Definitely don't bring any orange colored or anything in the orange hue out here, because it's going to be hard to find, which I lost my disc because I can't find it. There are some of the tees and baskets are close, some of them are far apart, which makes for long walks. So this course is longer than it needs to be, but it's definitely worth coming to check out. If I was closer, I'd probably play more. Obviously the big downside is you do have to pay to play, but it's a great course to check out. It's great for tournaments. I've done a couple tournaments here. It's just fun all around. So definitely come check it out. But until next time, off to the next course.